Welcome to the Bearded Bros Show, number 2. I'm Dustin. I'm one half of the Bearded Bros, and I'm joined by my other half of the Bearded Bro podcast show.
No homo, but yeah, another half of the show that is. But because I might try to take Dustin, but he's engaged. It's just a thing. Like, no, I'm kidding. But anyway, you guys can keep up with all the information down in the description below. You can email us at the bbroshow@gmail.com. That is in the description. Email us. Leave us your comments, concerns. If you want advice for something, or you just want to send something out to us that's you don't mind being public, we will talk about it if you wish to. Requests, all that jazz. And I burped really hard.
Damn, that was impressive. I'm not gonna lie. That was.
I was holding that in the entire time that I was doing that. It's gonna happen, and rather I'm gonna cut this out, or I'm not, because of comedic relief. But literally relief for me.
That was a good burp. You can't no. No.
No, no.
Yeah, that
but
was too good.
And also leave your comments below if you're watching and listening to this on YouTube. Leave your comments below. We will read them. We will read every comment, no matter what it is, no matter what's said, because we got to start somewhere. We know that we're not going to get a whole lot of comments right off the get. But by the way, Dustin, I don't know if you saw it, but our first podcast is already almost 50 views, and that's actually I'm pretty impressed with how we were able to, from my channel and yours, just kind of get people, because I stayed signed in to the channel today and yesterday, and I just saw so and so subscribed. So I'm this is cool. We've already got people subscribing, and we definitely appreciate it. And any newcomers that don't know who the heck we are, I do food reviews. He does Minecraft videos. All that stuff is in the description. Our main channels are in the description below, and we love you for clicking on stuff, because it makes us important, I guess. I don't know.
And with our powers combined, we created this podcast.
And right now I'm going to queue up some gameplay. I almost forgot to talk about that. Doing that a lot earlier this time. There's some more COD and whatever else I recorded. We'll see what it is. Just for your visual eyes, just so you're not sitting there bored, only listening, having to keep your video up on YouTube. But if you're listening some point in the future soon on Spotify, iTunes, and all those things, then just listen, because that's what that's there for.
Yes, and I'm going to be recording some gameplay here pretty soon as well, and sending it to Trav.
Yeah, there you go.
So yeah, probably some Call of Duty stuff, maybe some GTA stuff with my fiance. Who knows? We'll see.
Who knows? You gotta mix it up and make it good. Yeah, I just I really just need a good amount, 30 to 50 minutes. 50 minutes sounds good, just because that keeps the gameplay up for almost the whole hour, and it's good stuff. And request games, guys. If there's something that we have and you want us to play, I've got Jedi Fallen Order, which is a little spoilery. Everything that I'm doing on that game right now is literally too far into the game, so I thought about that, and I'm I don't know, I don't want to spoil it for everybody.
And I haven't played
got
it yet.
Battlefront 2, Modern Warfare. Modern Warfare is just easy. I've been recording a lot of gunfight just because of these really quick rounds and stuff, and it's a lot less entertaining than just a slow TDM match that's might not even hardly see anybody. With a gunfight, it's you're seeing somebody right away and you're trying to kill them. But
obviously,
request
Travis
games, guys.
Shipment.
I actually did today. Actually, I don't think it's gonna go on. There was a match of Shipment on Gunfight, and it was a horrible loss. And so it's probably not going to go up. I'm mainly just going to keep stuff where, we rather win the match, or if there is a defeat, it's something that's the one in the last podcast. One of the defeats I had was on that Christmas-themed map with the snowballs, and I got defeated, but I thought it was funny enough to keep, only because I was the only one against two guys. And I was just and you could tell that I was really trying hard to beat them, and in the end they beat me by a little bit. So I was really surprised by that. I was I picked a good fight, but what we want to discuss today, because last episode we kind of discussed it at the end and talked about what we might talk about next time, is Dustin's alcohol story, being kind of anybody that's an alcoholic out there listening or whatever, feel free to tune in and, like, I don't know, like, just, this is an open space. Me and Dustin want you guys to be able to speak publicly. Some of you may not know who we are literally at all, but, like, we open that invitation for you to be open. That's why I want you guys, to email us stuff and, like, do all that, just because we're just two honest guys that just want to try to help if we can, and, like, and I think that can be something really good, and hopefully that you, and if you're not brave enough, like, it takes you, like, to listen to, like, 20 more of our episodes to really just, like, get used to us and be like, okay, now I'll say this one problem I'm having. Like, I'm just saying, this is an open space. No one's judging you here. No one in the comments is going to judge you, like, so just, do your thing. But, however you want to start it off, Dustin, however you want. I don't know how you want to go into this.
All right, well, I have a pretty good idea. So, I'm 27 years old. I am the legal drinking age, have been for quite some time now. It is, depending on where you're watching this, it is 21 years old in the United States. I know some countries it's way younger. But the weird thing is I wasn't, like, a big drinker at first. Like, when I first turned 21, I had no desire. I think I went out on my birthday. I had one drink, and it was like a mixed drink. I absolutely hated beer. And I think what kind of turned me off from alcohol is because there were people in my family that drank. And, like, I never had to deal with, like, the crazy violent drunks. Like, I know some people, when they say that their family members drank, that they were very violent and abusive and just a complete different person. I didn't have that. I just saw how stupid alcohol can make you, Like, I've literally watched my stepdad introduce himself to me really drunk, really, really drunk, introduced himself to me and told me I was young. He was like, I'm going to take you out next time we go to Walmart and I'm going to buy you a toy. And it's funny because I remember that. And, like, days later, it was like me, him, my mom, my brother. We were at a Walmart, and I was like, "You're going to buy me a toy?" And he's like, "I never said that." I'm like, "Well, you definitely did, but you were drunk." But I didn't know at the time, like, really what it was. My parents had to kind of explain it to me. But when I turned 21, man, I just had no desire to drink. Like I said, I went out on my birthday. I had, like, one alcoholic drink, and that was it. And I just, every once in a while, would, like, take a sip of a wine cooler or something like that. Like, I was just never a drinker. Some time passed, and when I was living in Florida...
This was only like a few years ago, right?
What's up?
And this was only like a few years ago, like...
This was, yeah.
Or were you... Okay, yeah, I just was trying to get
it was
it clear
about
in my
4
head.
years ago I started, like, drinking. So, I lived in Florida. I moved down there with this girl. We broke up, and my buddy Steven liked to drink, and I would hang out with him, like, like, we had a couple drinks, like, here and there, and I remember one time, we hung out with this guy, and he gave us each a Bud Light. And I hate beer. No, I don't hate beer now, but I hated beer at the time.
Bud Light's so disgusting.
And I remember, like, I would, like, take a sip, and it was the nastiest thing to me, right? And my friend Steven's just pounding beer. I'm like, yeah, whatever, cool. Like, he can do it, like, what? But I'm not going to be a bitch. Like, I'm going to prove a point to this guy. I can drink a fucking beer like a man. And it was the nastiest thing I ever did at the time. It was disgusting. It tasted like piss water. It was just regular Bud Light, which I actually like now. It's kind of weird. But yeah, just not a big drinker. And I ended up moving back to Pennsylvania. And I went on a vacation to Virginia Beach with this girl and her family that I grew up with. Like, they have literally, like, I grew up with them. And me and this girl always, like, stayed really good friends. Me and her brother were always really good friends. Like, her family's always loved me. Like I said, we literally grew up together, like, from small children to adults. So she asked me to go on this vacation, and I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And I remember, we were down there, and they drank every other night or so, but not, like, got super drunk. And the one day, my friend went a little too hard, and the next day, she cracked open a beer and was in the hot tub, and she's like, I can't drink it. I feel sick from, like, last night. Can you finish this beer? And I was like, ugh. And it was Miller Lite. And it's so weird that I remember these. So I drank the Miller Lite, like, after, like, what she only took, like, a couple sips out of it. And I was like, you know what? This really isn't that bad. And I was 23 at this point in time. Or 22, about to be 23. No, 23 going on 24? Yeah, I was 23 going on 24. And I just kept drinking beer after that. I was like, damn, like I actually kind of like beer now. So I drank probably 3 or 4 beers. Started feeling pretty good. That night, her brother broke out vodka. And to this day, I cannot stand straight vodka. I can't do it. I took 3 or 4 shots of vodka, 2 shots of Fireball, drank giant like Bud Light Ritas. I don't know if you've ever seen those or if you guys have ever heard of them. Basically, they are like Bud Light, but they have flavors in them. You can get like a mango one, a strawberry one. I think I had like 2 big strawberry ones, like the big pounders. I drank 2 of those, ate buffalo chicken dip, and fucking puked my insides out that night. So this is like my first real experience like being drunk. Minus the time that I was 16, which I drank a bunch of Twisted Teas, and I hate tea, but I don't really remember that too much. But yeah, this is like the first time I've like really had experience with alcohol. And I remember, because I was watching Breaking Bad, I had this good idea that I was going to Pinky's house, which, if you guys have watched Breaking Bad, I hope you have. Jesse Pinkman, he cooks meth. And I had it in my head, and my friend that I went there with, her cousin, who is still like one of my best friends to this day, like had video of me. And I was like, I'm going to Pinky's house, and I'm going to go cook meth. And they're like, no, the fuck you're not. You're in Virginia Beach. You don't even know where you're going. But in my mind, I was like, I'm going to make $100 a month. And that, in my head, because I'm drunk, $100 a month seemed like a whole lot of money. That's how dumb, that's how stupid I was that night. So I passed out, right? I puked. I passed out on this open porch. It was like, I don't even know. It was like, we were in a beach house. It was a big house. And it was like this covered porch, but it was like open to the air around. I don't even know like how to explain it. I passed out on like a lounge chair. Woke up covered in hot dogs and nachos. I don't know. I don't remember anything. That was it. I went to sleep. Felt like shit the next day. Ate Chipotle. Was good to go. Napped for a few hours. Woke up. Boom. We're good to go, baby. Let's take on the day. So that was like my first real experience with alcohol. And then it just kind of like never really stopped after that. Yeah. And like my friend and I, like we were hanging out and like we'd meet up with her friends and we'd go to a bar. We went to like a Harry Potter trivia thing a couple times and like I drank. I ended up going back down to Florida in the summertime because I had to move the rest of my stuff back because I decided I was going to stay in PA. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to fly to Florida, fly the rest of my stuff back because I didn't have a whole lot. Went down there, hung out with my buddy Steven, drank every night. Not like super drunk, but I drank every night. And then when I came back, I was living with my dad and we just like had stupid arguments and stupid fights. And it just got to the point that I just got so fed up with everything and like so depressed that I left and I come back to my mom's. And this is when my problem really started. And the shitty thing about my alcoholic run for the 2 years that I dealt with it was like, I knew it was a problem, but I just didn't care. It was kind of weird. You know, like some people would never admit that they have a problem. I knew it. And when my friends and my family would be like, you have a problem. I was like, I know, but fuck it. Like, I don't care. Like, it numbs the pain. Because it was my way of not like, you know, letting myself sink into this deep depression. But I didn't realize how bad I was actually hurting myself by drinking. The night I come back from my dad's, it's funny, I actually ran into Trista at a gas station. And it was still, like, I was dumb, dude. Like, I went out and bought shoes. I paid like $110 for a pair of shoes, bought like a $150 pair of sunglasses. And I was just this douchebag because I was like, oh, look, I have all this money from my last job. I'm going to go blow it all on shoes, sunglasses, and alcohol. Went to a bar with my friend, and we ended up running into people that we went to school with. Drank, got super drunk, went to Eaton Park, ate food, went back to my friend's house, drank more. And mind you, this is all at like 3 or 4 in the morning. So I did not stop drinking from probably like 9:30 that night until like 6 a.m. the next day. And, you know, like we slept pretty much all day, woke up, ate, started drinking. And it was just a never ending cycle. It was every night I was going out, I was buying beer, I was bringing it home. Like, you know, like my parents would go to bed and I'm just out in this little nook kind of like in our house when I was living there in my mom's house and sitting there at my Xbox, my TV screen, just slamming beers. And it was every night. I would get in the shower and drink beer in the shower. And some time passed. I, started hanging out with Willard again. Willard and I would drink. I mean, he wouldn't drink as much as me, but I would go over there and I would drink. And it was just constant. We'd go to Applebee's, I would drink. We'd go to this bar and get these wings, and I would drink. And it was every fucking day. And I just became so dependent on it. It's like if I didn't drink, I didn't function. And I ended up meeting this girl, and we started dating. And at first, like I kind of like slowed down on the drinking a little bit. But like I met this girl at a bar with her dad, and I drank. But I wasn't drunk. And then every time her and I would hang out, like once her family like got used to me and like really started liking me, every time I go over to their house, it was a party every weekend. And I would go there because at this time I wasn't working. Like I had nothing going on in my life. I just had an alcohol problem and her and her family, and I'd go over there and drink and drink and drink and drink. And I remember the first time I ever blacked out, and I can tell you this story perfectly. We drank the night before, and the night that I blacked out, which was the day after, I walked up to Willard, was like, dude, I don't feel good. Fell over backwards. Willard carried me into this girl's house, threw me on the couch, covered me up, was like, dude, go to sleep. Like, I literally blacked out drunk with my eyes open. That's all I remember. I remember waking up, feeling perfectly fine, getting up, drinking again. That same night. Next day, hungover as all hell. First time I've ever had a hangover. Second time I've ever had a hangover. Absolutely miserable. We go to IHOP in the morning. I can't even eat my breakfast. I can't drink coffee. I can't do anything. I feel like I'm going to throw up all day. Like, I end up going back. I take a nap for an hour. Wake up, still feel like shit. Her dad's like, hey, let's go to Permane Brothers. Let's get a sandwich and, you feel better. We go to Permane Brothers and he's like, can you eat? And I was like, no, dude, like I still feel sick. And he's like, listen, I'm going to teach you a remedy called the hair of the dog. Big mistake. If you don't know what that is, basically, if you have a hangover and you drink a beer while you're hungover, it cures it. But you would think like, oh my God, like why would I drink a beer? Like that's the shit that caused this in the first place. Which I did find out that it wasn't liquor, or there wasn't beer that actually gave me a hangover. It was liquor, which I don't do liquor to this day. I mean, sometimes every now and again, if it's a mixed drink, whatever, or like, but I can't do it. So I drank this beer, go back to their house, and drink again. And I mean, this went on for probably, I think this girl and I dated for like 6 or 7 months. And it was like that every weekend for 6 or 7 months. But, I would have a beer or two every day. And it was like that. We broke up. The drinking was worse because I was depressed again. And I'll tell you, I'm going to get into the story now that like kind of ended my whole like run with alcohol here. So mind you, this is like, it's been like I'm 27. This just ended last year. So for 2.5 years, I did nothing but drink alcohol. My friend Eric, Mr. G Stoff, my buddy, I've made videos with him. Everybody knows who he is on my channel. They've heard about him or seen him. That's the guy I moved to South Carolina and went to do the electrical job. So we're still really good friends to this day. Actually, it's my homie. But he was like, hey, man, he was dating this girl at the time. And they ended up breaking. And while they were dating, he was like, hey, man, look, there's this big bar crawl. Like me and my girlfriend are going, you should go. Well, the girl that he was dating hated me, like absolutely hated my guts, despised me. And I'm pretty sure she's the only person that's ever hated me, like with a passion. I don't understand why, but fuck her anyway. So he was like, like, hey, we broke up. I still have these tickets to the bar crawl. Will you go with me? And it was in the south side of Pittsburgh, which is where my dad lives. So this whole thing kind of worked out. So I called my dad, I'm like, hey, like, we're going to this bar crawl. Like, can I crash at your place? My dad's like, yeah, that's cool, whatever. So we go to this bar crawl, and as it starts, and if you guys don't know what a bar crawl is, and especially in the south side of Pittsburgh, I think there's like 107 bars within like a 2-mile radius. It's disgusting. That's all it is bars down there. So you jump around to different bars. Like you're in one bar for like an hour and you move to a different bar, and it's on a schedule. So you just keep going and keep going and keep going, basically until like 2 a.m. Or not, it was like till midnight. Then anything after midnight, you could go to whatever bar you wanted. So like my friend got like really, really, really drunk, had a super good time. And I was like buzzed, but I was sober enough to know where I was at, what we were doing, what was going on, and to pay attention to him and to babysit him. So the bar crawl's over. We finish our bars, and my dad was like, hey, do you want me and Jane's my stepmom. He's like, hey, my dad's like, hey, you want me and Jane to come down and we'll meet you at this bar. Meet us here. So we go to this bar. And at this point, I'm like, okay, you know what? Like, I'm going to have some fun. Like, my friend sobered up. I was like, it's my turn. So there's all these people there. We're talking, making friends. You know, I'm drinking beers, whatever, Bud Lights. And I'm feeling really good, you know, not like drunk, but I was drunk, you know, but not drunk. There's levels to it, believe me. So I remember telling this girl, she asked me about my tattoos. And I remember sitting in the booth. Mind you, this is after like 8 shots of Jaeger, which if you don't know what Jaeger is, it's a liquor that tastes and smells like black licorice. It is absolutely foul. And if I even look at the bottle now, like at this point in time in my life, it makes me sick to my stomach. So I did like 8 shots of Jaeger, and I probably had like 5 or 6 beers. So I was like drunk, like I was at my limit. And I remember sitting at the table telling this person about my tattoos, and I just blacked out. Like my eyes rolled back in my head, boom, I'm done, out cold. But apparently, you know, I don't remember anything because I was blacked out, but I was like telling my friend that I had to puke. So he like walked me into the bathroom. I puked in a sink, puked in a urinal. My dad was like, you know what, we got to get him home. And I'm blacked out in the back of my dad's car, trying to open the door as we're driving up the hill to his house because I had to puke. He pulls over, I puke outside of the car, and I don't remember anything. But this is the stuff I'm telling you now is what they told me. Because I blacked out in the bar. I don't remember leaving the bar. I don't remember getting my dad's car. I don't remember getting to my dad's house. Nothing. I woke up the next morning on this couch that my dad has as soon as you walk in the door, covered in puke. My entire flannel just completely covered in puke. The couch, the floor, the garbage can, completely covered in puke. And I had to go to my nephew's birthday party that day, and I couldn't even enjoy it. I literally laid in my nephew's bed, hungover, and I was sick for 3 days after that night. Like hangover. My hangover lasted 3 days. It did not matter how much I ate, drank, nothing. It made me so sick. And that was like, when I recovered from that fully, I kind of had that like, what the fuck moment, you know? And I can't. Like now, like I said, I can have some beers and like maybe a couple mixed drinks, but I can never, ever let myself get that drunk again. And I haven't since. And it's been over a year. I can't do it. But that's it. It was definitely, I mean, it was bad. And like I said, man, like the worst part is I knew it was a problem and I admitted it was a problem. I just didn't care, I guess. But I can promise you guys, if you know anybody that is an alcoholic, or you yourself maybe like you feel that way, it temporarily numbs the pain, and it's not worth feeling like shit the next day over, believe me. Because it made me very emotional too. Like when I drank liquor, dude, like I would freak the fuck out. Like not in a bad way, but like it just like brought all these demons and these bad memories out. And I was just so loud and obnoxious about telling people that. And nobody wants to hear that anyway. So like, you know, it's okay to like drink alcohol if you're a social drinker, which is what I am now. And I kind of was back then too, you know, like have a beer every now and again if that's your thing. But trust me, like it's not worth getting like blackout, shit-faced drunk every day of your life. It's stupid.
That's kind of how I feel about bad food and stuff. Like the kind of food that you're like, I know I shouldn't do this, or like, you know, you eat something and then you're like, I know I shouldn't put dessert right behind this, but I'm doing it anyway. And then like you know, and then you feel like you have a stomach ache, and the stomach ache, while you're having a stomach ache, is when you're like, why did I ever do this, yada yada. But when before you have the stomach ache, it seems harmless. It's like, right. It takes the experience of being inside or coming out of the bad experience, and that's what I hear from a lot of people that are like big drinkers, is like, you love the alcohol, but like when you're inside of the hangover, you're just like, why do I do this?
It's awful. And you know, like,
but there is a way out, you know, and that's
right.
And Dustin found the way out. I mean, he just had to wake up, like, because Dustin's
right. And
I mean,
know, like,
you've always been like a mature person, like, I think deep down, like in your, like, even though there was some times where you did stuff like that, but like for as long as I've known you, it's been almost like a freaking decade, like you've been a pretty mature person. So within that time, this experience took place, but so it was kind of like your mature side just kind of like push it out, like, hey, what are you doing? You know what I mean? It's like, and so, you know, that's just how it is sometimes. Like sometimes
And
it just takes your will inside you to be like, dude, you gotta change this, and it takes work to mentally like break it down in your head. Like, what's the problem? How do I fix it? How do I move on? And it's
right, and
but it's all interesting.
when, especially with that like bout of depression I had, it's like I was depressed, but like at the same time I was happy. Like I knew my life was getting better, and it was strange. Like I at that time, like I wasn't in the depression where I was like by myself or wanted to be by myself and shut people out. It's like I wanted to be around people, and like I hid my depression and like I was me. Like I was who I am now, like happy go lucky. Like even though I was like having fucked up thoughts, I was so happy. And like, you know, you hear about people being alcoholics, and it's like, they drink and they're by themselves and they just kind of sit and like wallow in their sadness and their depression and just let it consume them. I wasn't like that. Like when I drank, even though I was depressed, and I drank out of depression to kind of like numb that internal pain, I had a fucking blast. I had a great time.
Yeah.
It's not like, you know what I mean? Like I was drinking with friends. It was very rarely that I drank by myself, other when I was at home. But like I could stop myself when I was at home. Whereas when I was with people, it's like I just wanted to keep going and keep going and keep like the party and keep the vibe going. And I had a fucking blast, which is really weird because, to somebody from the outside looking in, like my friends were like, oh no, like, like you're just a young man that like, you kind of missed out on those drinking ages, so like you're making up for it. Like that's what it was like, but really that isn't what it felt like, because I knew what was going on inside my head. I knew what I was feeling. I knew what I was thinking, but like it was odd. It was really odd. So it was like I was like a happy alcoholic that was also fucked up in the head at the time. And like if I ever was alone and I was lost in my thoughts, like it was a bad place to be, like in my head. And it's still, I'm gonna be real with everybody here right now. Like I'm not depressed by any means. Like I love my life. I'm getting married. I have 2 beautiful kids. Like I'm happy, and I still.
Yeah, I think you seem happier than you ever really been. Like as far as I've known you, like because I haven't known you my whole life or anything, but I've known you long enough to be like, well, I can see the change through the years. And I feel like, yeah, I definitely get that vibe from you now that you're a lot happier than you've ever been.
I'm so happy. And, like, a lot has been going on recently. Like, Trav knows I'm not going to touch on it on the podcast just because that's some, like, it's too fresh to talk about.
It's
like, I'm an open person.
Ladies and
but
gentlemen,
like,
there's actually stuff in people's lives on YouTube that shouldn't be spoken
right.
of.
And, it's not just my situation.
It
It affects my fiance and my children, too. So, like, that's not something I'm going to talk about. But, like I was telling Trav before we recorded this, like some of the shit that was coming out of my mouth, I have very dark thoughts, and I don't have hatred for many people, but there's one person in particular that I have nothing but hatred for. And I was literally looking at Trista like when this whole issue was like real fresh, like just a couple days ago, and I looked her dead in the face. I was like, if you could get inside my head and could see the mental images that I was seeing and the shit that I was thinking, you would turn and run away from me. You would never look at me the same.
Everybody has a dark side, man. Like I mean,
I have
like no matter how humble and like joyous people seem, which sometimes I could be like the ones that have the more dark thoughts, but no matter how just upbeat someone seems, everyone's got a dark side, and that's what makes storytelling and like movies and all this stuff like so interesting. Is like
right.
Is everybody is that no matter that's kind of one of the whole like this is the very side thought here, and I'll keep it brief, but that's kind of like one of the whole meanings behind Star Wars. Is like all the Jedi in the movies have been tempted by the dark side at some point in their life, and they got through it. This is like, and this could be just very much. This is why I like Star Wars, because a lot of the stuff can be used in real life, like. The trials and tribulations of becoming a Jedi Knight is literally facing the dark side, like, inside. Because, like, Luke he went into, when he was on Dagobah with Yoda, he went into this little cave and faced Darth Vader, and Vader wasn't even there. Like, it was literally just like the dark side saying, like, hey, like, come to me, like, and all that, like, at this, like, your place is with me, and that can be used in real life. Like, there's always these things that are tempting you, like, being an alcoholic, or, like, if we, I'm just gonna say it, like, some people have addictions to porn, like, all this kind of stuff, and, like, what else? Like, even worse stuff, where it's like you have an addiction, like, that you shouldn't, because it makes you basically a criminal, and, like,
Right,
and all this
yeah.
stuff, and, drugs, and, like, being, like, womanizing, and, like, all this stuff, like, our great freaking Freddie Mercury from Queen, like the movie Bohemian Rhapsody shows, like, I know some of it's, like, may not be accurate, whatever, but, like, he obviously, like, had problems, and, like, trying to find himself, and, like, but if you look at the outside of the shell, it's like, oh my god, like, he's this amazing vocalist of Queen, like, Freddie Mercury is one of the best singers and vocalists and performers of all time, dude. Like, Freddie is, like, me and Ashley agreed after we've seen that movie so many times. We're like, man, Freddie just seems like this type of guy that's like your neighbor that you could just hang out with. Like, he just seems so cool, like, just so chill and everything. But he had problems, and, like, everybody does.
Right.
Even the big celebrities and everything that they put on a face, but, like, everyone's got their thing. Everyone's got flaws, and everyone's got struggles. But But that's also one of the things that makes life the most interesting. Is, like, if we all were just perfect, it'd be kind of boring. But, I mean, it's all just, it's all about, to me, and it always has been, like pulling yourself out of the darkness is really what's going to shape you into being what you're meant to be, like, and that sounds cliche, but, like, if you really want to be a good person, like, a wholesome, like, everybody sins, everybody has their problem, but, like, if you really want to actually be, like, a good person in this world, you have to, and I've done it several times, like, I have done, like, facing, like, my demons straight in the eyes, like, I'm going to get past this, and I'm going to beat you. Like, you have to, and, like, with Dustin, like, I'm not saying that was, like, his main demon, but one of his things was, I don't want to become an alcoholic, and I'm going to look at it straight in the eyes and say, no, like, you're not taking over my life. Like, and let me put it in the perspective with, I mean, and you know this, you obviously know this, but, like, the answer to the question, actually, I'll just ask it, I'll just say it as, like, a question. Do you think Trista would want to be with you if you were like that today?
No.
Like that, and see, that's the point. And so, and because you came out of it, I mean, you're able to have a life with a woman, and it's like, you know what I mean? It's like everything, like, and me and Dustin say this all the time, like, to each other and stuff too, and in agreement. It's like everything happens for a reason, and as cliche as that sounds, there's got to be something. There's got to be something like that with the universe. Like, it's like, I mean, like, there's so many things that just cannot be a coincidence, And and you have to face failure sometimes, man. Like, Yoda said it at best. I know I'm going back to Star Wars, but it's got a lot of good quotes. Do or do not. There is no try. I've actually been thinking about if that's going to be it. If I'm going to have a Star Wars tat, I think that's going to be it. I might have, like, I think I might put Yoda's face on my arm, and it says, do or do not. There is no try. And it would be ironic, too, because I have a channel called Trav Tries.
Tattoos are cool.
Like, I have a channel called Trav Tries, and I'm got on my arm, like, there is no try.
That'd be funny.
Oh, man. Or just an X-Wing, because that, to me, like, that's one of the coolest ships, like, ever, like, designed, and I think an X-Wing would be really cool to have, but yeah.
You know what's weird, too, is, like, actually, man, like, when I stopped drinking is when I actually started getting, like, tattooed pretty consistently. Pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, it was almost like a a vice to like keep me away from that stuff. But like I said, like I mean, once I like, had that incident after the bar crawl, I've really just had no desire to drink. Like I said, I've drank, but like I just to get that drunk, like I'll get buzzed, whatever, like that's fine. But like to get that fucked up again was bad. And to go back and touch kind of like on like the everybody has a dark side to them. I've never acted on mine, luckily. Usually when and it takes a lot to push me to that point of being angry where I start saying what I'm thinking. And I'm telling you, man, like I'm not, like I understand there are people that are subscribed to my channel that like watch me and maybe look up to me, but I'm going to be fucking real again. If I ever said the stuff that I thought around people in law enforcement, I would be in, would be in a, like, I would be locked up in a psych ward, but I would never act on it. Does that make sense? It's just almost like I think it, I say it, and then I'm fine. Like I vent in a very weird way when I'm mad, like when I'm angry, but it takes a lot to push me to that point. And like it is what it is. And I very rarely ever hit that point. Like I can honestly probably count on one hand how many times I've actually like hit that level of anger where I just like let it out. But I've also I've seen a lot of violent things growing up, and I've watched a lot of violent movies and TV shows, and like I just think that I get these like really like fucked up images in my head of like, I don't know how to explain it really, but I'm messaging my fiance back.
This is an open space, Dustin. This is an open space. You just like admit, like, I actually killed somebody. Like, this. Like,
no.
Smile on that
I've
face.
never, and I couldn't.
I actually said that to my coworker today.
In a self-defense standpoint, absolutely. If it ever boiled down to that in my life, yeah, but I feel like that's a lot easier to justify if you're, doing it to protect you or your family or somebody else. Like say someone breaks into your house or whatever, and like, that's the only way to like stop them, whatever, it's different. But like if you're doing that out of anger or just out of hate, obviously, like, no, I could never. But yeah, man, like I've said some nasty things to people that I'm not proud of, back when I was younger and back when I really had issues like with my mom and my real dad not being together, and I was just angry all the time and like felt like I had nobody when I was honestly at my lowest point in life with my depression. I've said some very, very messed up things to people, but I think everybody has kind of been in that point too where you just like lash out, and say things. Everybody has said something they don't mean to somebody at some point. And I'm sure even somebody like Trav who like doesn't swear and honestly like sees the good in everybody and really has no hatred for anybody has said something to somebody where, later down the road he was like, oh fuck, like I should have never said that.
Oh yeah. Oh, most definitely. I mean, like, like pretty much any relationship I was in that's like obviously I'm not in today, like, and like I'm not saying like not every relationship like I've had ended badly, but it all ended kind of like, I don't know, like just on an ill, I guess, note. Not really, like, nothing really. I mean, it's been some pretty terrible stuff, and like I've been through stuff that people like I don't know, I've like never even like admitted to anybody, and like I think everybody has that, but like,
oh yeah,
it just, it's, the world is so different, man. Like just like I've always tried to like. I'm very self-aware. Like, I'm extremely self-aware about, like, other people and stuff, and, like, just, I'm not saying, like, I have trust issues or anything, but, like, I always just kind of, I'm so curious about what's going on in another person's head, and, like,
me too.
And just, like, how do people, like, you go to work, and your coworkers, like, how do they really feel about you? You know what I mean? It's, like, because they can say that they like you all day. And like, and me and my buddy Thomas at work, we became close because we literally became close because we admitted basically like I didn't really like you. Like, it was just kind of like this weird, like, we realized through honesty that makes us, like, actually similar, because we're extremely honest people. And, like, I've gotten better. I've gotten to the point now where, like, I've definitely changed over even the last half a decade, like 5 years. I've definitely changed, because back a few years ago, I wouldn't say some stuff out loud that I say now, because I think it's sometimes I'm like, is it really helping me though, or am I actually just becoming, like, you almost question yourself sometimes, like, am I becoming a terrible, like, not, I'm not a terrible person, I know I'm not, but like, you can feel when you're degrading to, like, am I becoming, like, worse at life or better, you know what I mean? Like, just like, am I too honest or whatever? And like, I just find myself, like, just, I don't know.
No,
Like, a few years ago, I wouldn't like call people out on their BS, if you want to put that in quotes, like, and then now I pretty much will. If I'm feeling bravery in the moment, because I still have social anxiety and stuff, and I get, like, scared of myself and all this stuff, and I'm just like, sometimes I don't say what I'm feeling, because sometimes you just don't need to, especially, like, around your boss and stuff, like, there's no need to say everything that you're thinking, because you want to keep your job, so, but I'm not going to kiss feet either, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I'm like one of those kind of employees where I'm just like, I'm not going to, like, whatever you want to say, like, kiss booty cheeks.
Kiss the booty
Like,
cheeks. No, I
'cause
agree, man.
I knew Dustin would probably, like, he would actually say it, like, what I was thinking, because he knows what I was thinking, but, there's some people, that will, like, they'll try to, like, man, I want to be, like, a supervisor one day, so I'm going to, like, suck up all I can. It's like, I don't agree with that. I don't think you should have to, and,
No, not at all.
but
Hard
at the
work and
same time, I
perseverance
don't
is
want to
what
be a
pays off,
boss.
not
Like, I don't
kissing
want to be
ass.
a boss. I don't want to be a boss at my job anyway. I've already told people there. I'm like, no, I don't think I'm ever gonna try to do that, because they're like, I've seen my bosses there, and they are stressed to the brim, and they're growing gray hairs because of it. And I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. I'm like, I just want to do, like, my kind of work is like, I want to do the best that I can at my job, but at the end of the day, my goal is to work, like, clock in, and clock out at the end of the day is fat, like just like, if that happens fast, that's my, like, that makes me happy.
Right.
Like, I want to go home, like, that's just my brutal honesty about work sometimes, is just like, I just want to go home, man. Like these retail jobs and stuff like that, this is not what I'm meant to do for the rest of my life.
No, man. And you know what?
Like,
It's like I work with
you
people like
know
that too,
But I
where
do
they're
take
like,
pride in it, and, like, and all this, and, like, there's nothing wrong with taking pride in your work and trying to push yourself and yada yada, and, like, move up
oh,
and all
not at
this
all.
stuff. But, like, but but I definitely just, as soon as I clock in for the day, man, my thought is just like, I cannot wait to go home. Like, you know, but sometimes I'm inside of the job, like, even today, like, for a Sunday, I mean, it was like, I was pretty blown away at how chill it was there. I was like, man, everyone's still like, over it from the holidays, man. Like, there's been, like, nobody really, like, no BS, no, like, too many people and yada yada. Because that's a big contender for my job, of, like, how fast you have to work and stuff with how many customers. So, and I don't know, I don't know in comparison, like, how, yours is with that, but like, I just, I don't know, I found myself today just kind of feeling just, like, I have to remind myself sometimes, like, man, I'm blessed. Like where I work, like, I get to work in a cold room, and I know that sounds, like, pretty brutal for other people, but I love that so
Hey,
much.
hey,
Like,
man,
I
if you're
literally,
happy,
I hate working in the heat. I've always hated stuffy rooms. I hate, like, just sweating in general. I hate the uncomfortableness of it. I would rather be uncomfortable in a freaking really cold freezer than hot any day, because I can keep myself warm. I, like, can work even harder, that there's nothing wrong with that, to warm up. Like, I work in a cold back room, ladies and gentlemen, and I love 95% of it. I'm not gonna say every single second of it. It's, there's some terrible days, but mostly I'm like, man, I'm exactly where this isn't where I want to end, but I'm exactly where I need to be right now. Like, and I know Dustin, talking about, with Trista and everything, and with me with Ashley, it's just like, we're exactly where we need to be, my man. Like, just recording this podcast, everything under the sun that we're doing.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And it's like it's a really weird feeling that I've never had, like, through my life. Because it's always been like, I need to be doing this, I need to be doing that, and like, even mentally, that's not just like someone telling me, it's like, I should, but everyone still has that thing that they need to improve on, and I still got my little things, but all I'm saying is, like, me and you both have improved on what we need to improve, you know what I mean? It's like we have gone far, even just since, like, the day we met, like, we've definitely both, made some really positive changes.
Oh, extremely. Extreme.
What is that movie? Extreme. Why can't I think of it?
Extreme Home Makeover. Bus driver.
The extremely goofy movie. That's what I was thinking of.
Oh, the extremely goofy movie. That's a good movie.
Then we watched the Goofy movie, like, in our freaking in our hotel, like, cause that was the first time we were like, Disney Plus, like, we literally like binged. Well, actually, at the time, I think it was only one episode of Mando. So,
now the season's over.
Now the season's over, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm not gonna spoil it, but man, that was a good finale. I'm telling you what. Like,
yes, it was.
Man, yes, that was like, that was good.
Super
Taika
good.
Taika Waititi, man, like, he's a great director, like, and he did the final episode. He's the director of Thor Ragnarok and a lot of other comedic stuff, and I was gonna say some stuff, but I'm like, I better not spoil it. It's kind of like, it's been really recent since that episode dropped. But let's just say, if you look it up, just look up, like, there's a stormtrooper scene. I mean, there's a lot of stormtrooper scenes in a lot of Star Wars stuff. It's not really much of a spoiler, but a certain somebody is in the suit of the storm and having a conversation, and like, I could tell right off the get. I knew Taika Waititi did the episode before going into it, but as soon as I saw that stormtrooper scene, I was like, this has Waititi written all over it. And he also voices IG-11, by the way. He voiced Korg as well. Hey man, like, in Thor Ragnarok, the blue rock guy from Thor Ragnarok / Endgame.
His best scene was in Endgame, and he's like, Thor, he's back. The kid on the TV just called me a dickhead again.
He's like, whatever. Dang it, I can't remember off the top of my head. I still need to actually watch it at home. We haven't even opened the plastic, but yeah. What did Thor say? He said something like, what? It was like, the guy's gamer tag was such a stupid, like,
Noob Master 69.
Yeah, Noob Master. And you know what's funny? Because on the PlayStation Network, that specific guy, like, not the same guy, but a lot of people messaged whoever had that gamer tag and was like, loved you in the Avengers and all that stuff, and it, like that. And the guy that actually has the gamer tag in real life right now had nothing to do with the movie, but he happened to have that gamer tag, and it's just so hilarious. Cool. So I think my friend told me something like he changed his picture to Thor from Endgame. How he was all like, got the freaking beer gut and stuff. That was a twist, man. I did not know that they were gonna take Thor to that level of, like, man, like, because he was so amazing and so, like, he was so cool in Infinity War, and I loved the haircut. I was like, man, like, that fits him so well, only to, like, get a beer gut and, like, grow his hair back out even longer than it had ever been, and have, like, freaking dreads and stuff.
So funny.
I was just like, man, this is good stuff.
Kid on the TV called me a dickhead again. Noob Master.
Hey, man.
Yeah, Noob Master 69.
We're gonna go blow that ship up. You gonna come? Man, good stuff.
Feel free to connect to the Wi-Fi.
Whatever he said the password is, or whatever. Man, and the Hulk scene too, where he's like, uh, Professor Hulk sees his like older self from or younger self from 2012's Avengers, and he's just smashing stuff, and he's just face palming like But it's like,
Mm-hmm.
but it worked because like, what else were you gonna do? Like, Cap telling him like, Hulk smash. Like, there couldn't have been a better moment. Like, yeah, go smash because we need muscle right now.
Should we get into our recommendation?
Oh yeah, I didn't even think of one. Do you have one already?
Ooh, we might have to do this one on the fly. Um,
um, um, um,
come on, come on.
um.
Think, brain blast. That doesn't actually work. I just tried. I think my recommendation is, maybe turning to substances isn't always what's best. You know, try to find something to take your mind off that stuff. Find something you're passionate about, something that is going to kind of take you away from reality, even if it's just for a few minutes. Like for me, I found that making YouTube videos, that was my niche. That was like my getaway. That was my escape from, all the bad that was going on in my head way back when and in my life. Find something, even if it's something as simple as just like picking up a pen or a pencil and drawing a picture, or if it's going outside and taking a walk or just listening to music. There is something out there for you, I promise you, that can distract your mind and take it away. And a useful piece of advice that I always give people when they tell me, like, look, man, like, I really want to make YouTube videos, like, I really want to vlog, what do I do? My buddy Sean, who I would love to have on this podcast as a guest, is a retired firefighter who suffers from PTSD and Parkinson's, and he's like, I think he's, I want to say 46. I could be wrong. Sorry, Sean, if you're watching this, I got your age wrong. He approached me, and he has been vlogging, and he approached me and he was like, you used to vlog, what do you do? He's like, because there's going to be some days where things are just going to be really hard to talk about. And I was like, listen, I understand. And I was like, but you know what I did? I just talked to my camera. I've had so many hours of footage of me just talking to my camera and venting and stuff that I never uploaded, because for me, that was like, talking about it was like my therapy. If you don't have anybody at the time to talk to about it, say like you're at home, like a day off work or whatever, and your friends and family are gone, you feel like you have nobody to talk to, open up your camera and just talk. Just make a video. It never has to see the light of day, but it is something that you can do, and it has helped me tremendously. So yes, like I said, my recommendation, find something that is, that will distract your mind and kind of take you away from the negative reality of things. And if you keep doing it and you force yourself to do it, once you find that happy medium, keep doing it, because it will make your life so much better. Because then you just get into this routine of like, oh, like, hey, this all isn't too bad. That's my recommendation. You got anything now, Trev? I led the charge, buddy.
Well, you did give me time. I will give you that about that. It gave me time to really think about it. And honestly, I think I got like 3 things, but I'm going to save some for like another episode. But I got one. Do that thing that you've been needing to do for a long time. Because you know what? The other day I like cleaned my studio. I moved my desk to a better like a situation and everything. And I just like I put that off for so long. And like the little things, man, like what Dustin's saying, like find something to heal your mind and stuff like that. Like Ashley's stepdad Roger, he literally like is the most like he like will work and he has something going on all the time, like projects and like building stuff and doing all this crazy stuff. And like her mom basically said like it keeps his mind like busy. And like there's nothing wrong with that. Like sometimes you do need rest. You need to find time to rest, but also know that like there's nothing wrong with a good work ethic. Like me and Dustin, have this similar struggle all the time of like, man, I got like 2 videos to edit in my computer. I've already filmed it, but like, when am I gonna take time to edit that? Like it happens all the time.
Oh yeah.
And like especially with me, Dustin, talking about like the food review thing, like how like he couldn't do it because like it's a lot to keep up. It really is. If you want to get some views, you gotta like the new tacos came out, Taco Bell, blah, blah, blah. You kind of gotta review it. But, like, but do things at your own pace. And, like, if you're, and I mean that to everything. I mean the whole, like, I'm doing this very sloppily, but, like, if there's something you've been wanting to do for a long time, except for murder people,
Don't do that.
then do it. Anything positive, like hey, me and Dustin are YouTubers. If you have been thinking for like a whole year or two, like, man, I should start a YouTube channel, but I don't know, like, hey, reach out to us. Email us at thebbroshow@gmail.com. It's in the description below. And ask us, like, advice and stuff on YouTube channels. Like, we've been doing it long enough to, I feel like we have at least some, like, some experience. Just on, like, the length. Like, I've been off and on for, like, 7 years, but I've been back for, like, the past couple, and, like, really, really, like, I haven't taken a break. Like, I haven't, like, stopped. Like, longest I've taken a break in the past, like, couple years was, like, I don't know, like,
there
3
was a
weeks,
point where
maybe,
you
like,
stopped for, like, months, and you really
yeah,
did, like,
I know.
a
Like,
whole
I stopped
thing.
for longer than that, man. Like, it was way over, like, a year or even 2. Like, I don't even know. I just lost count. But like, since I started the channel, like, 7 years, but, like, somewhere in the middle of that was this huge break. And, I just wasn't where I am today. Like, I didn't have the proper equipment, blah, blah, blah. Like, camera busted back then and stuff like that. And, like, my mom was on my tail all the time about doing videos and all this stuff. There's a lot. Maybe one day I'll share all of that. I actually have, technically, on my Trav Talks podcast. Maybe I'll edit that again or something and, like, put it on here to, like, make it, like, different, like, a different, just, like, make slight adjustments, maybe give you guys, like, me on camera real quick at the beginning, like, saying, like, this is an old episode, but I'm gonna go ahead and upload it to this, because I've been thinking about that. The ones that me and Dustin have done on Trav Talks, I'm thinking about just, like, transferring them over to this, because they're a good enough conversation where I feel like it's almost like you're missing out if you haven't heard it. Like, so I feel like the people that haven't heard that on that channel could listen to it here. But yeah, that thing that you've been wanting to do, just do it. If you want to start a YouTube channel or whatever it is, just let your mind just be creative, have fun with it. Like, the first thing, and then I think Dustin will agree with this, is, like, have fun. Don't overthink it. Like, if you're, if you have problems with, like, because I still have this today. I still have this one issue. Like, I don't like myself very much. I don't like the sound of my own voice. I don't like, just, we all have that. Certain moments in our videos are like, oh, why'd you do that? Like, why'd you even turn your head or anything like that? Like, I'm a very self-conscious person, very bad. So, like, if I can do it, anybody can, because I'm the most, like, I have changed camera positions so many times just because I'm like, this isn't right, this isn't right, and I'm very particular, and, like, I'm, like, not trying to be, like, oh, I'm trying to look better, and, it's never, I'm not, like, that bad, but, like, just where am I comfortable, you know what I mean, like, and it's hard to get comfortable on camera sometimes, and even today, guys, I still struggle with that, and so, sometimes it's just, like, for the sake of the entertainment, for the sake of, like, I love doing this. I love editing videos. I love, like, everything. Like, for the sake of it, it's totally worth it. I've built, basically, a whole other part of my life. My channel's been there for me for the whole 7 years, like, rather I was doing it constantly or not. It's been there for me. It's been that thing that's, like, a driving force of, like, this is where you can be creative and have fun and maybe even make, a decent name for yourself, to the point now where people at work, I didn't tell them I have a channel and they somehow discover me and then, like, come up to me and, like, it's so cool that you have a channel and, like, blah blah blah, like, how do you blah blah blah, and, like, like, someone was asking me not long ago, like, ever talk to Dame Drops? I'm like, oh yeah, like, once or twice, and they were like, their mind was blown by, like, that I've even spoke to the guy. I'm like, well, I mean, we all do the same thing. Like, it's really not that big of a deal, I know Jason Callan. I've been familiar and spoke to Joey's World Tour before, like, and Joey's World Tour before. But that was a weird rhyme. But yeah, guys, that's my really long and sloppily said recommendation.
And just to touch on what Trav said there and give you guys a little motivation, 2 things for you. The hardest critic you're ever going to face in life is yourself, right? But you need to combat that.
Don't let anybody tell you can't do something.
Rise above. And how Trav was talking about, if there's something out there that you want to do, to just do it. I'm going to tell you something I want to do. And, hopefully this kind of jumpstarts you guys and gets you thinking. I really want to receive Trav's care package. That's something I want to do.
I freaking knew it. I was like, there's no way he's not going to not do that. Because I knew by the way you were building up, like, it was like, and there's something else I want to do. And it was like, and I really want to receive the care. But I was like, but wait, is he going to go that way? And then so my beginning, like what I thought from the front and the get-go was correct. Dadgummit, Dustin. But, But anyway, with that, we shall wrap this up. We reached the hour. I almost said I would like to thank Dustin, but you're not a guest. You're literally like a main host, so I can't really. I mean, I guess I can thank you for being on. I can thank myself for being on as well. I really have enjoyed the heck out of this already, and so much so that I was like, "Oh, we dropped an episode 2 days ago. You want to record again? Let's go!"
You know what? And I was so happy Trev messaged me because I was thinking about it. I was like, because I went back and I rewatched the podcast. Even Trista started listening to it, and she's like, I really like this, and I was really hoping that Trav was gonna reach out to me. Because actually, it's kind of weird, dude, because I was sitting on the couch watching Dexter when you messaged me and asked me if I wanted to do episode 2. And I was literally thinking about messaging you early in the day, trying to plan a time with you, because if not, like, I was actually going to get on and, like, kind of do my own and, like, talk about some things. But I'm so glad you reached out to me. It's so weird, like, that we were thinking about that at the same time almost.
Yeah, and I just, like, I don't know, I feel like, I guess the last couple of days I've just gotten, like, plenty of sleep and stuff, and I just, like, I've been, like, trying to, like, wind down a lot earlier in the night and stuff, so I feel like that's been helping me at work, and also kind of, by the end of the day, if I'm not dead exhausted, I will feel like doing something that goes towards YouTube. Like, that's my day. It's, like, I love, to come home and edit and all this stuff, and, like, but, like, but as for, like, tonight, it's like I'm replacing all that by, like, hey, record a podcast. Once it's recorded, most of the work is already done. I just gotta, like, go in there and produce it. But But yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for listening, and we love y'all, and hope that you give us some emails and comments and all that jazz. Don't stay silent. Don't you dare listen to this and not say anything in the comment section. Anyways, guys, with that, we'll be seeing you next time.
See ya.